I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life.
Voicecast, and I'm EJ. Welcome to my Voicecast, the podcast that takes you on my journey of becoming a voiceover artist. So, this has been a busy week. Finally got to a developer meetup, only to be the single visitor outside of the person who set it up, Walter. Turned out to be quite informative and quite helpful. So myself and Walter, who's the group creator, had a good conversation. I learned a lot and have a way forward in becoming a voiceover artist and getting my voice out there. Looks like I might be able to create myself a nice niche that can cover a lot of different areas and open me up to different avenues. So I created a YouTube channel that I can use to do 1 or 2 minutes or longer explainer videos for folks who are indie developers for either games or manga, comics, whatever they're putting out there. I would be the voice for their content. Apparently, there are a lot of folks in this world of development of games who are not comfortable putting their voice out there. They don't like the way their voice sounds. So there's an opportunity there. I'm going to jump onto it. Hopefully I can do it on the cheap. It doesn't cost me an arm and a leg to do it. So far, so good. During the meetup, I also mentioned about protecting by copyright, so to speak, copyright of whatever it is I'm putting out there. So, no one's grabbing it. We had a discussion on the difference between copyright protection and branding in the world of reality, so to speak, in real life. So, as he explained, folks who have gone with the copyright still have to police their copyright vigorously, obviously. And if you don't have the resources to be out there to make sure some company is not snatching it, well, you're kind of at a loss. So he said you're better off branding yourself. You create a brand, you go by your brand. It has apparently helped other folks who have branded themselves, and their fans caught the theft of their brand before the creator did and called them out on it. Apparently, Sony had snatched some fight scene that a guy created and does on the regular. He's a martial artist, and they called it out, and they actually had to backtrack on it and pay him some money. That's the short version of it. I never bothered looking up the long version, to be honest. Sounds like an interesting story, though, and a pretty good case. I went down that rabbit hole and did some reviewing on the USPTO site, the United States Patent and Trademark Office. There was a unique tutorial, very nice tutorials, actually 3 YouTube videos, and I put the link to one of them in my notes. From that, you should be able to find the others, or at least do like I did and go to the USPTO site. And on the splash page, you'll do some clicking around to look up information. But they were listed there as courses that they gave. The first one was the most informative for me. It takes you from the ground up of, basically what the trademarks are and what copyright is. You can also Google that and get a very good, idea of what's the difference between the two and figure out which one helps you the most. Once I submitted, which that was the easy part, submitting it. The difficult part was deciding on what your trademark was going to be, how to create it, and doing the research to find out if anyone else already owned it. In my case, pretty easy. I went out there looking for it for my idea, and there were 0 findings. Nobody was using this. So I'm 90% confident that I did enough work to define a unique trademark. And as the presenter on the video said, there's going to be more digging. There's going to be more research on their part to make sure there's no crossover. So you can have a brand, as they use an example of zebra, and depending on how it's spelled and what it's for, you may or may not get the patent. If you have zebra, the name of your company, and it's associated with t-shirts, somebody else has zebra spelled the same way, but it's associated with car tires, well, both can exist in the same space, just like Dove soap and Dove ice cream, because, companies are not making soap and ice cream. They're making them exclusively. So that's something I learned. Good information. Before you get started, if you decide to go down this road, you'll want to go set up an ID.me account, because you're going to have to verify yourself, and that's how you do it. So on the ID.me account site, you'll log in and follow their instructions to set it up. You will need at least a birth certificate, government ID, your social security number, and a couple of odds and ends so that you can readily identify yourself. You will probably need a US-based phone number. I did this years ago, actually, so I already had one. When you set up the account to get into USPTO, you'll probably need Okta, OKTA, or some other authentication app on your phone. So you'll get, an RSA token basically to establish the account. The account cost in order to submit, it starts at $250, and it can go up from there. And that depends on, I found out after I got in and I set it up, I started picking products that I may want to associate my trademark with. It was $250 just for the trademark. I associated it to like t-shirts and mugs and things like that. And there are different levels that you can associate with. So it actually went up to $750. So yes, it cost me some money. Let's hope it's well spent, because that money is non-refundable. Once you click you're completed, your payment, and you pay, it's done. The money's gone. You're not going to get it back, because that's what they use to fund the USPTO, to do all the research. That's what you're paying for. So if you decide to cancel, maybe you can cancel it, maybe you can't. Once it starts, according to the website, it doesn't stop. So make sure you have your ducks in a row and do all your research before you click the button, and you make sure your trademark is as unique as it can be. You can, make it unique by different spellings, but also unique by what you're attaching that trademark to if you're going to be using it to sell products. That's all explained in the tutorials also. You can find out a lot of information there. But as I said, it was a pretty easy process, pretty painless. I took my time. I did it over a couple of days, a few hours per day, just doing some reading and studying, and, it worked out pretty well. So we'll see. 12 to 18 months is the time window. I'll keep you posted here if it goes faster, because of my situation, since what I picked, I never found in their database. You also can go the route of finding an attorney, a patent attorney. There are places out there you can go on their website. You can find a few links to help you out, but you must be careful, because there are a lot of folks out there who are scamming people out of money, because they're setting themselves up as representation to the USPTO, and they'll charge you a fee, and they'll collect all your information, and then you won't get your trademark. They'll just keep your money and go away. Be careful. So as most government sites, they're not going to call you and ask for your bank account number. They're not going to call you and ask you for your social security number, address, none of that. All of that information gets put into the system when you create it. They did not ask me for my social security number. They wanted a phone number. They wanted my address. They wanted to know where I lived, and verify myself with ID.me, where all that information can also be held. So it was a pretty good process. They don't go digging around for a lot of extra information. They're not going to call for a credit card number or anything like that. Once you pay your fee, you're done paying. They're not going to call and say, oh, you need to file this and then pay this amount. So again, be careful. I did get some good information from Walter setting up a website to do what I am attempting to do. So I went to Ali Abdal's site, and I talked about this earlier. He does the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, or PTYA. And I told you at the time the cost was $995 for like 4 months worth of access, or 4 months worth of classes, but it's in perpetuity. So you can always go back to the courses. I believe he's dropped that down to $885. I went with the $1 option that is refundable. It's 4 hours of information. So far, it's been working quite well. I'm following his instructions and setting up this is actually my third YouTube site. And it's pretty smooth. He gives a lot of good information. Some of it is not relevant to me right now because I'm not going to be doing video specifics. One thing Walter said is you want to put it on YouTube, but YouTube is visual. So instead of, just having an audio file, you can do AI generated videos that track with your voiceover. And I've seen them, and I thought it was just folks grabbing these things from different sites. And that's exactly what it is. But there's a little bit more to it than that. I'll do some more research on it. Maybe I'll start applying that to my podcast too. It's pretty neat. I mean, it just shows random people, stock footage talking about different things. I guess you can pick it so it tracks along with your topic. It's another outlet. And I immediately started thinking about, mugs and t-shirts to put my trademark on and sell that, because he did say he's getting passive income from that. And it helped him out in the past where he did not have regular income, but he did have things he was selling online through his store, and he was making money from that. And that was great. And that's one of the things I'm after, is like residual income. So I don't know, maybe breaking into the product market, selling t-shirts and hats with a logo on them. We'll see. Okay. Another good news. I have another short list posted. Last check, now I'm up to 5, of which out of the 5, 1, I believe, has canceled or they decided already and it didn't drop off the listing. So I'm moving along. Feeling pretty good. Trying to work out my schedule. I was so busy Saturday and Sunday that now Monday, today is a holiday, and I'm finally getting this out here. I do need to get the Japanese version of this, so that's going to take some time to consolidate what I've just told you into Japanese and make sure all the context is correct. With that, I'm going to conclude here. Hopefully I gave you everything you needed. Again, the link to the USPTO will be in the show notes. Instead of me trying to read off the gobbledygook at the end of the YouTube URL, I'll just post it in there and you guys can see it, click on it, and go to it and do some reading. I recommend, even if you don't plan on doing a trademark, take a read anyway. It's pretty interesting on how branding works, how the trademark works, along with patents, some of the legalities behind it, and what you can do with it, and why you see some of the things you do see. So, as always, feedback and subscriptions are welcome. The link is at the bottom in the show notes. If you do have any advice or suggestions, that's what the feedback is for. Thank you for joining me on this cast, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, oh. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, oh. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it, how you gonna move for it, what you gonna be? And do you believe we can do anything?